Hello and welcome again to the Business of Business podcast. I'm your host, Roy. Today we have an awesome guest with us. She is, she's going to talk to us about something, probably the second highest thing on people's list that they love, especially entrepreneurs that they wake up and love to talk about every day. Right behind an IRS audit is health insurance. But uh, her name is Jennifer Quintard. She is a licensed healthcare coverage expert with U.S. Health Advisors. And I met Jennifer last week and we were talking about some things, and she cleared up a lot of misconceptions that I've had. That's why I invited her on the show, because if I had these, I'm sure a lot of other business owners have them too. And that the main thing is that when when you're a company, small or large, it's like I always thought you had to have group coverage, but actually you can have individual coverage based on the individual. So that's where we're going to kind of lead off. Jennifer, thanks for taking time out of your day and welcome to the show.
Hey, Roy, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. It's lovely to discuss this with you. It's a subject I'm obviously kind of passionate about because I got into healthcare and the health insurance business coming from a rather different field, but one still where I
Yeah,
wanted to have an impact on folks. I wanted to let them know, that health insurance involves everything and everyone, no matter where you are, what you
right,
do, whatever your profession. If you're not healthy, you can't do much of anything. So,
right. Yeah.
and
And
knowing that.
before, if you don't mind, before we jump off into the health insurance part of this, tell us your background and where you came from. Interesting story.
Oh, well, sure. So I spent the first 20 years of my professional life as an opera singer. I sang professionally for 20 years in the United States in regional houses, as well as in Europe, in Germany and
Wow,
Switzerland and
that is
Austria.
awesome.
So that was a really fun time. It was a lonely one. It's not as glamorous as everybody thinks. I can promise you that. But
Yeah.
it I was always a self-employed person. So I was
Okay.
going from job to job, living out of a suitcase. And of course, the first thing that always was in my mind was, am I healthy? If I get sick or
Right.
have a cold, I don't get paid and I
Right.
can't sing. So, that was always foremost in my mind. And then it just has is just come with me over the years, um, in a way that when I left the singing world and decided to work in a corporate environment, whereby I was actually at the Dallas Opera for 4 years as their artistic services associate.
Okay.
I was around artists. I was helping them. I knew what they needed, obviously, to try to give them the optimal opportunity to have the best performance. That included their health and maybe taking them to the doctor as well. And the bottom line is, this country is in a health insurance crisis. Especially with COVID going
Yes.
on. Unfortunately, a lot of people are out of work. They're out of jobs. They've let their health insurance go, and it's really, really a sad state of affairs. And because of the cost of this pandemic, rates have increased. I mean, you can go on any
Yeah.
website. There's lots, two that come to mind. One is healthsherpa.com and the other one is healthcare.gov. And you can actually go in there, put in your zip code and your age. And if you had to be the sole person to provide you and your family for insurance, you'll see exactly what it costs. And those costs have increased 30 to 40%. So,
Wow.
and a lot of folks, I mean, it can be the cost of a mortgage, and that's
Right.
absolutely ridiculous. So that's why I was interested in entering the private insurance arena. Private insurance is pretty much that. We U.S. Health Advisors is a wonderful company. We are owned by United Healthcare. We've been in business over 50 years. Um, and the products that we have, while they are exclusive United Healthcare products, they're excellent and they are based on a person's health alone. So if a person, a family, a business owner, even if you have one or two employees, if they're relatively healthy and I can approve them and get them qualified, they will enjoy a great network. This is on the largest PPO network in the country right now, which is United Healthcare Choice Plus. And they can expect to pay less for their premiums and deductibles because they're healthy and they're from a healthier pool.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that is the one thing that we were talking a little bit about is that if I'm a company and I want to get a group umbrella policy, those premiums for everybody will be based off of an aggregate or a pool of everybody's underwriting or everybody's health
That
or
is
lack of
correct.
health in that company. Where this kind of provide, I guess this is a way to segregate and get lower coverage or lower prices for those that are healthy, and you don't really penalize everybody. I mean, there's so many benefits to this. I was amazed because I've never thought about a company being able to well, the individual being able to get the coverage and then
Right.
the company being able to actually still supplement that, paying part of it, just like they do in their group health plans.
Absolutely. That is absolutely the way it works. And like I said, a lot of people just don't know. They're not aware that there are other options and that you know, uh, we all have our maybe our brokers or our friends or referrals that send us to brokers who do have those public options. But
Right.
again, remember those public options are immediate acceptance. So that means those unfortunately, if you have pre-existing conditions, if you're currently dealing with any cancers or lupus or diabetic or whatever the case may be, you know that that plan will accept you and you will have insurance and you'll be covered. The
Right.
main difference is private insurance is underwritten, meaning you must be approved first to have this policy. The underwriters will look at your medical history, your background, and what you've been through. But again, we figure why not reward folks who are healthy and give them options that are less expensive.
Right. And I assume that when you get the big group umbrella policy that's going to accept anybody, I'm sure that means the rates are typically going to be a lot higher than if you look at underwriting each individual within that company.
That is correct.
Yeah. So this is a great option to look at for business owners, especially smaller business owners, to be able to help. Let's say help because they're not going to offer the plan, but they can encourage the employee to get the private health insurance, and then they can still make a contribution to help them pay the premiums as they would with the group insurance.
Sure thing, yeah. And
Yeah.
one great thing I like about the U.S. health policies, in certain states, the policies come with an association, which is based on the American Independent Business Coalition, or the AIBC. And what that is a group of small business owners who can reap benefits from this association, primarily because they are small business. And some of those perks include obviously a tax write-off for paying their premiums every month. Also, a lot of professional benefits: tax talk, employee talk, finance talk. So in other words, a small business owner, if they don't have an HR manager, and they maybe just need a professional opinion about maybe an employee that they're not sure what to do with or how to handle a situation, they can pick up the phone and just speak to an HR professional right then and there, and there is
Wow.
no charge for that. Same with finance talk if they need access to a financial advisor. So as far as business benefits, there are business benefits as well as personal benefits. Um, some of those include, discount flower delivery or moving discounts, identity theft protection, roadside assistance, things like
Oh,
that.
wow. Okay.
So
Cool.
all those things are there to benefit the small business owner.
Yeah.
And as far as the personal, the main one that I really love, right now with the coronavirus, everyone is reluctant to go and sit in a crowded doctor's office. Telehealth and telemedicine has just taken off tremendously. This association gives the person the ability to call day or night, no matter what time it is, unlimited use to have at a video appointment with a physician, a board certified physician.
Nice.
This doctor can call in whatever, antibiotics or steroids or creams. If you get in some poison oak, you can go, you know, have an appointment right there just as easily as you can personal to person in the office, and get it taken care of, and you don't have to leave the comfort of your home. So all those great perks are, they're great to have, and a lot of
Yeah.
people, again, they don't know that they're available out there.
Right. Well, and that's awesome about the video because, to tell if I've got poison ivy, you really don't have to see me in person. And then typically there, what I think about is my time. I have the time I have to drive to the doctor's office. I have the time I have to wait in the waiting room. And then I have to have the time
Yeah.
that I wait back in the little exam room. So, you can kill an easy couple of hours just going to a doctor's visit now.
That's true, but
Uh,
all that to say, obviously that the MD Live is great for minor things. I'm not
right.
saying
Right.
don't go to the doctor if you have something major happening,
Yeah. Right. Right.
but obviously for the sore throats and bronchitises and pink eyes and all that kind of stuff,
Yeah.
that's a great tool, especially for young kiddos.
Yeah, no, that is great. So the other thing that was interesting about this concept is the portability, because if I'm working for somebody that's paying for part of my premium and I either get laid off or take another job, this insurance goes with me. I don't have to make any changes. The only thing is if the employer was paying a portion of my premium, of course, I would have to pick all of that up. But the nice thing is, it's like, well, you don't have to change, go to Cobra. You don't have to change
That
if
is
you go
correct.
to another employer to see what they've got. It's just, it's a very simple transition for the insured.
Absolutely. And that's another great thing about these private options. They allow you portability. You can certainly take it with you,
Right,
whether you keep the job or not. They're also auto renewable. So if you like the plan, you want to stay on it, you certainly have that option. And there's also coverage on and off the job. A lot of folks, if they're working at a company, and if there is no workman's comp offered or whatever, this plan will cover you on and off the job, and it is a nationwide PPO. So you can go on vacation with your family, leave your home state, and if something were to happen to you or your family, you would absolutely be protected and have coverage. And that's a very important thing that a lot of folks don't know. For instance, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Texas, that's why it's called that.
right,
That is meant to protect you in the state of Texas. So,
right,
I would be a little worried, if I did were on that kind of plan, and we wanted to go to Europe or go somewhere else and get some need healthcare, that would plan would actually pay for anything. So
right.
that gets a peace of mind there, as far as the portability and the nationwide usage.
Yeah. And what about like you can explain the difference in the maybe the PPO versus the HMO, because I know it's been a while. I think I was on an HMO. I went to a hospital as an emergency. Come to find out that the emergency doctor that serviced the hospital that I went to in my plan
Yeah.
wasn't in that network. So it ended up being paid, but it was just a hassle because most lay people think if this hospital's covered, then the people I'm going to see in this hospital are going to be on my plan as well. And that is so not necessarily true.
Yeah, that's a whole other issue when it comes to healthcare. People,
Right.
I think they might have a general idea, that HMO and what the difference between the two, but the reality is, hospitals, doctor offices or doctor group offices, even freestanding your urgent care facilities, they all contract differently with insurance companies. And so they may, have an HMO contract, say, just out of the top of my head, Baylor, Scott and White up here in Grapevine, they may have a contract with an insurance company that is an HMO company, meaning that they prefer to have the patients see the doctors that accept this insurance, and then if the doctor is out of network, then yes, unfortunately, the customer will pay more.
Right.
So what that is a way to force the customer to go where the insurance wants them to go,
Yeah.
and that can be frankly, just in today's spread out, especially here in the DFW Metroplex, just inconvenient because
Right.
what if you may live in Dallas, but your plan will only cover the hospital that's, in Hillsborough or something
Yeah.
like that. I mean, that could be a hardship for some folks and not have to a hospital close by or have to maybe show up in an emergency situation and then have the hospital say, sorry, we don't take this insurance,
Yeah.
and then you're stuck. So
Yeah.
um
Well, I think in today's mobile or even virtual environment, a lot of we're not all on the same site anymore. So I think this becomes particularly more important for the fact that, as I live in Texas, my employer could be in any of the other states and the US. And so if they've only got insurance that's either really good in that state or in that city, then you're kind of left out. Where with doing the individual policies, that's not going to be it's not going to be an obstacle at all.
right, right. So there are lots of things to consider, and it's just my job. I'm there to just help. I'm trying to, if I have folks that call me and even just need some advice, I'm here to help and clear the way in any way I can, because being an underwritten coverage plan, I can't help everyone. So even if I come across someone who maybe is diagnosed with diabetes or has a condition that my plan doesn't cover, I do my very best to at least point them in the direction of someone who will take care of them. And I do have some trusted brokers that I love and trust that I know that they'll take good care of them if they had to show them some options.
Yeah.
Um, so
And that brings up another point, as we talked, is that when you purchase insurance through you get you even after the sale. You're not just there for the sale; you're there
oh
for the follow
yes.
up. And I'll just relate a story that I had happen to me just yesterday. Very timely to this talk, but my insurance, I had called the who I thought was the I thought they did manage the insurance and the flexible spending account. So I talked to them a few months ago, had some out of pocket expenses, called the lady. She gave me all the instructions on how to file it, and then didn't hear from them. And then, yeah,
Hmm.
later this week, it's been 2 months. I finally, and they were not helpful. They were very surly and just unfriendly.
Oh.
And so, yeah, it was terrible. And so then this week, I get a notice saying, well, this expense isn't coverage, that you'll have to pay it all out of pocket. I'm like, well, I paid it out of pocket. That's why I was fine. So anyway,
Oh my
long story
gosh.
short, I called back to the 800 number and come to find out, the health side of the people don't really know what's going on. Transferred to the flexible spending people, they proceed to say, yeah, we manage some flexible spending, just not for your company. So
Oh
the
dear.
original representative that I had talked to did not get the whole story right. And then, of course, they just were not friendly people. So that's the other awesome thing about going through the individual coverage is you buy the plan, you get you, and from what you tell me, you're there to, if I next week or something, if I have a problem and don't know where to go or where to turn, I can always reach out and talk to you. Is that correct?
That is also another great perk of having an independent agent work for you. Independent agents, I'm not a broker, so I don't have access to all of the plans out there. I only offer, United Healthcare plans through U.S. Health, but I tell my clients, uh, I'm put me in your phone because just signing the dotted line is only the beginning of our relationship. I do really want my clients to know that they can call on me if there is a question or a hesitation or a medication that is ridiculously expensive. I have ways that I can help them find less expensive options. And health insurance is a living thing. Every one of us gets up and goes to work or encounters things in our daily lives, and we never know what's going to happen from one moment to the next. And so, if I'm not sleeping, I usually always answer the phone
Yeah.
and try to assist because there could be times, when you're in a crisis, or if you are not sure where to go and your initial thought is to go to the emergency room. I need to know about it, and I can actually guide you, because of course, if it's a heart attack and you're bleeding to death, yes, go to
Right.
the
Right.
ER. But if it is
Exactly.
something that maybe an urgent care could take care of you for, that's a much less expensive option. And I could actually call ahead. I can actually find out who the doctor is on call, and just verify, about the insurance for you. I mean, that's my job. I'm not just here to, sell a policy and say goodbye. Because if I didn't do that, Roy, my business would suffer. I want people to depend on me, rely on me, and know, I'm not here just to take your money and sell you something, because that does me no good. And I
Right.
couldn't go to sleep well at night if I knew that I could have done something for someone and let them go and be in a situation where they could potentially overspend and put themselves in a worse position.
Right. Right.
And as an agent, that is an integrity factor that all agents should have, because if we were to be reckless, I would lose my license. And I certainly don't want that to happen.
Exactly. Well, and it makes such a huge difference that you have a vested interest, and you get paid on commission for what you
I do.
sell. So you want to service that customer because you want me to renew next year, versus the 800 call centers. It's like, those people come and go. They don't care if you have insurance with this company tomorrow, next year, whatever. So
Correct.
definitely a plus that somebody is going to be vested in not only my health care, but also invested in wanting to keep me happy as a client too.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it's a great opportunity for me. As I said, coming from a singing background, I was constantly gone. And I actually lucked out, I suppose. Where uh, insurance is something that I can actually do from anywhere.
Right. Right.
And so being confined at home, as we all have been lately, this I have no excuse not to not to be there for my clients if they need
Right.
me.
Right. No, and it's kind of interesting, the transition, because it's nice that you kind of found something you were passionate about, because you lived on the other side of that, about not having the insurance,
Well,
or questionable if you could use what you have where you are. So.
that and also, I when I was a younger I'd say I was maybe 23. Um, my I'm an only child, so my parents were, they're very protective of me, of course, but my father um, unfortunately came down with a cancer called multiple myeloma when I was 23 years old.
Wow.
Um, and that was a devastation to our family. Unfortunately, he died rather quickly, and after all efforts of chemotherapy and radiation and surgeries. And unfortunately, he didn't make it, but I could see the weight of that on my mom. And, you know, she was a teacher, and so she had TRS, teacher insurance.
Hmm.
And while it did cover all of it. I mean, some of it, not all of it was covered, and it was still a financial burden. And our top plan, which is called Secure Advantage, um, we actually, and again, I look at US Health, we are the only alternative to a major medical than Obama or ACA or the marketplace plans. And by what I mean major medical, if you pay your deductible, whatever it may be, Obama or ACA plans for individuals right now are running close to $9,000, 8,800 or whatever. They have
Wow.
increased from 8,100. But if you pay it, then you're going to know you're 100% taken care of. So that is a major medical policy.
Yeah.
US Health also has these options, but our deductibles are they can be tailored, so you don't have to be given, hey, here's your deductible of 8,800. You can actually choose between a $5,000 deductible, a 7,500 deductible, or a 10,000. And again, knowing that you are 100% covered is the and is the best thing in the world. You have no worries of any other financial burdens coming your way because you know the plan will pay out.
Yeah.
And in my mother's and my father's case, that unfortunately that was a burden for them, and I just decided then and there, I loved living in Europe, and yes, they do have free healthcare there, and there is something to be said about that. I know that we
Yeah.
have a lot of folks up in arms about that, and they can call it socialist all day long. But even though the taxes are higher, it is such a relief to know you can go and be taken care of and not be billed hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Right.
So, from a personal standpoint, it is definitely something I feel very passionate about.
Yeah, and it's an interesting point because I've been fortunate enough in my life not to have ever been put in this position, but I think there are so many Americans now that you're put in a position if somebody gets sick, even if it's fairly minor, they have to think about, well, where are we going to take them? Is somebody going to accept us? Do we have enough money? What are the ramifications of all that? It's
Correct.
especially if
Yeah.
you have kids. I mean, it's just not a decision that you want to have to think about. And then kind of the other part, talking about your family is, we've gone through some, my girlfriend's mother's had some issues of late, and, trying to navigate the system. So sometimes it's not even the financial burden, but it's like when you're in crisis, that's not when you want to have to call 12 people or find out that this path we're on is the wrong one. We have to change, or
Right.
whatever all those intricacies are. It would be nice to be able to reach out to somebody that's like yourself, that's educated of the plan, because unfortunately, hey, call center people, they know probably enough to get by, but they don't know everything inside and out, like I'm sure that you do, where you can really help your clients navigate the system.
Right. And, again, underwritten coverage, as most insurance is, it's based on your age, and we are all aging every year. So,
Right.
yes, insurance does increase a little bit every year. But as far as, recommending things for my clients, I do a thorough analysis when I speak to someone. And I like to know, what are their histories? Do they have did their parents have a history of some sort of cancers or anything? So, based on their answers, I will be able to determine then the best option because, especially if they are in their middle age, if they're approaching 50 or 55, I'm not going to suggest a plan for that person that I would maybe recommend for a young, healthy 22-year-old,
Right.
because obviously you're coming to an age, parts don't last forever, and
Right. Exactly.
I want to be able to put them in the best possible shape insurance wise so that if something were to happen they would have the coverage they need.
Right. That's awesome. Well, Jennifer, we're going to wrap it up. Is there anything else that you want to add before we start closing up?
No, but Roy, thank you so much
Yeah.
for inviting me on. I do want
You
to
bet.
tell folks, open enrollment is happening right now. That means
Okay.
open enrollment for those folks who are going on any kind of public site or looking at health plans. Let me help you because
Okay.
those plans, can be, I always tell folks, you need to read closely in between every single line to know
Right. Right.
exactly what you're getting and
Right.
why put yourself through that if I can help you do that. So,
Right.
um,
So, if you would, before we, I'm gonna give you, let you put your contact information out. But one question I kind of like to wrap up with is, so what is a tool that you use either in your work or your personal life? It could be a tool, it could be a habit, a ritual. What is something that you do on a daily basis that you just don't feel that you can do without, or that's very important to your daily routine?
well, I always have lived by this mantra of, you can't ever hope for something more than you're willing to work for it.
Right.
And that has served me in my singing life. It's served me here, and it serves itself when I in my relationships with my clients. I want to earn their respect and earn their trust. And that's what I try to do on a daily basis.
That's great. All right. So tell everybody they can reach out and get a hold of you. Again, I
Sure.
appreciate you taking time out of your day to join us. So,
Absolutely. Well, you can certainly call my cell. My cell is my work phone number, and that is area code 817-797-6319. You can also see me on the U.S. Health Advisors website. If you just wanted to go to www.usha.com/Jennifer Quintard. So let me know if I can help anybody. I'd be happy to do what I can.
all right. Yeah, I just recommend everybody give Jennifer a call and check out what she's got. I think she'll be able to help a lot of people that kind of felt like they had nowhere to turn. So that's great. All
Great.
right. Well, we appreciate you listening to the show. Again, this is Roy with the Business of Business podcast. You can find us at www.thebusinessofbusinesspodcast.com. We're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. So look forward to next episode. Be sure and share with your friends. Everybody out there needs to hear this message, and we'll be able to help some company owners as well as some individuals. Uh, get the right coverage for themselves. So anyway, give Jennifer a call. Until next time, this is Roy. Thank you a lot.
Thank you, Roy.